The boy's eyes widened in horror. He had only come to peek inside the famous kitchen of Ainde's restaurant, hoping to catch a glimpse of how she made a legendary stew, but what he saw instead made his stomach churn. Ainde, the beloved smiling woman who fed the whole city, was crouched over a basin of spoons doing something unthinkable. She dipped them into a strange yellowish liquid. The boy gasped, his small hands clamping over his mouth. He stepped backward, accidentally kicking a metal tray. The loud clang echoed through the dimly lit kitchen. Ainde's head snapped up, her round face always glowing with charm, twisted in shock. For a moment, she didn't move. Then her thick fingers tightened around the edge of the basin. "Who is there?" Her voice was sharp, cutting through the thick smell of stew and spices. The boy, frozen in fear, knew one thing. He had seen something he shouldn't have, and Ainde would not let him walk away easily. Pacho City woke up hungry. By 10 a.m., Ainde's restaurant was already packed. The scent of slow-cooked beef stew, rich with spices and thick with flavor, danced in the air. People lined up outside, stomach growling, chatting exactly about what they would eat today. "Give me my usual," a man called out as he handed Ainde a generous tip. "3 plates for me," another woman said, laughing. Everyone in Pacho knew Ainde's place was the best. Her food was not only the tastiest, but also came in large portions, and at the prices that no one else could match. Even the richest people in the city sneaked in for a bite. Her competitors, other restaurant owners, watched in frustration. Their tables remained empty while Ainde's place overflowed with customers. "How does she do it?" One of them, Mama Chiku, grumbled to her friend. "Her prices are too low, her food is too good, and yet she never hires help. She should be exhausted." But Ainde never seemed tired. She never even seemed stressed. She cooked alone, served alone, and still managed to live a luxurious life. She wore the best clothes, drove the finest car, and had a golden necklace that shimmered under the Pacho sun. But there was one thing about Ainde that no one ever questioned: why no one was allowed into her kitchen. She says she doesn't need help, some customers whispered. Maybe she has a family secret, others speculated. Maybe she just doesn't want anyone to know her recipe, a jealous restaurant owner said. But none of them knew the truth. Only Ainde knew what went on behind the kitchen door. Only she knew the secret of her food's taste. Only she knew what kept people coming back 3 times a day, desperate for more. And tonight, a small boy had discovered it. Would he live to tell? The little boy's heart pounded so loudly, he thought Ainde could hear it. His breath hitched as he stood frozen in the shadows of the dirty kitchen, staring at the woman who had just been caught in a bizarre ritual. Ainde's eyes darted around the room, scanning for the source of the noise. The kitchen was dimly lit, and the thick scent of stew filled the air, mixing with something sour, the unmistakable smell of urine. "Come out," Ainde said, her voice calm and soft. "I know you're there." The boy, barely 8 years old, knew he had 2 options: run or face her. But before he could decide, Ainde moved with surprising speed for her size. She strode toward the doorway, her heavy footstep making the wooden floor creak. The boy's survival instinct kicked in. He turned and bolted. The kitchen door slammed behind him as he dashed into the alley, his small feet kicking up dust, his lung burned, his tiny legs trembled beneath him, but he didn't stop. Ainde rushed after him, but the night air was thick with darkness, and the boy was fast. He darted through the narrow street of Pacho, weaving between empty food stalls and parked cars. Ainde stopped, breathing heavily, her chest rising and falling with fury. She couldn't let this boy ruin everything. She wiped her hands on her apron, her mind racing. She needed to find him. She needed to silence him before he told anyone what he had seen. By sunrise, the street of Pacho City already alive with energy. Vendors arranged their goods, children chased each other, and the smell of roasting meat filled the air. But one thing was different that morning. People were whispering. Something was wrong. At the heart of the market, a group of women gathered around a little boy who was shaking as he spoke. His clothes were dusty from running, his lips dry from fear. "I saw her," he whispered. "Ainde, she was washing the spoons in something bad." The women exchanged glances. "What did you see?" one of them asked. The boy hesitated, his small fingers gripping the edge of his shirt. "She was washing them in a pea," he finally said. Gasps erupted from the crowd. "Lies!" a man scoffed. "Do you know what you're saying? Ainde is the queen of food in this city." "I swear it's true," the boy cried, his voice desperate. "I saw it with my own eyes." The whisper spread like wildfire. Within minutes, the entire marketplace was buzzing with rumors. Some people refused to believe it, others, especially Ainde's competitors, smirked with satisfaction. Mama Chico, the jealous restaurant owner, listened carefully. This could be the end of her, she muttered to herself. Ainde knew trouble was brewing before she even entered at her restaurant. As she stepped out of a luxury car, a golden necklace glinting in the morning sun, she noticed the stairs. People were watching her differently today. She walked confidently, pretending not to notice, but as she reached her restaurant, she was met with silence. No cheerful greetings, no early customers, only cold eyes. She turned to face the crowd gathering near the market. She saw the little boy standing among them, his face pale with fear. "What's going on?" she demanded, her voice firm. An older woman stepped forward. "Ainde, this child is saying some disturbing things about your kitchen." Ainde raised an eyebrow. "Oh, and what might that be?" The boy took a shaky step forward. I saw you," he stammered. I saw you washing the spoons in..." "Enough!" Ainde's voice cut through the air like a blade. She folded her arms, staring down at the boy. "What foolishness are you spreading, child?" The crowd murmured. "Are you calling him a liar?" a man asked. Ainde sighed, dramatically shaking her head. "Of course I am. Do you think I will serve this city with dirty spoons? Do you think I will risk my name, my business, my reputation? For what?" she scoffed. "This is nothing but a wicked rumor." The crowd hesitated. Could it really be a lie? "Then let us see your kitchen," a woman challenged. Ainde's face darkened for a split second, but she quickly recovered, letting out a low chuckle. "Ha! My kitchen is my kingdom," she said. "Would you allow strangers to walk into your home and search through your things like thieves?" The crowd exchanged glances. She had a point. "I cook alone," she continued, her voice smooth. "That is why my food is special. If I allow just anyone into my kitchen, my magic will be gone." Slowly, some people nodded. They didn't even want to believe in the little boy's story. They loved Ainde's food. They needed to believe in her, but not everyone was convinced. Mama Chiku, watching from a distance, smiled to herself. "She's hiding something," she murmured, "and I'm going to find out what." That night, the city was restless. Ainde's customers were divided. Some dismissed the boy's claims as childish imagination. Others, especially her competitors, were eager to see her fall. And in a small, dimly lit home, Mama Chiku sat with two of her trusted workers, whispering. "We need proof," she said. "People won't turn against her without evidence." "How do we get it?" one of the workers asked. Mama Chiku's lip curled into a slow smile. We sent someone inside the kitchen." The workers exchanged nervous glances, but she never allows anyone in. Mama Chiku leaned forward, her eyes gleaming with mischief. "Then we don't ask permission." She turned to one of the younger workers. "You will go." The young man swallowed hard. "And if she catches me?" Mama Chiku smirked. "Then you better make sure she doesn't." The young man chosen by Mama Chiku was named Juma. He was small and quick, the perfect person for sneaking into Ainde's kitchen unnoticed, but as he stood outside the restaurant that night, nerves rattled through his bones. He had seen Ainde before, her large confident frame, her sharp eyes that seemed to see everything. If she caught him, he wouldn't just get a scolding, she would make sure he regretted ever stepping near her kitchen. Juma took a deep breath and crept toward the back entrance. The alley was dark, and the scent of food from the restaurant still lingered in the air. He pressed his ears against the door, listening. Ainde had gone home. This was his chance. With a shaky hand, he pushed the door open. It creaked slightly, but no one was inside. He stepped in, heart pounding, and then he saw it. Juma had expected a clean, professional kitchen, the kind a successful restaurant owner would have, but what he found was horrifying. The floor was covered in grime, old food scrap rotting in the corner, piles of unwashed dishes sat in a basin, a foul stench rising from them, flies buzzed lazily over uncovered pots. His stomach turned, but the worst part was the spoons. Dozens of them sat in large plastic basins. The liquid inside was a murky yellow. Juma covered his mouth. The little boy had been right. Ainde's charm wasn't just a cooking, it was this. The realization sent a shiver down his spine. Suddenly, he had something outside. A key. His blood ran cold. Ainde was back. Juma's heart almost stopped as the door swung open. Ainde stepped in, a large figure blocking the doorway. Her golden necklace glistened under the kitchen light. She looked exhausted but satisfied, as if she had just spent the evening enjoying her wealth. Then she froze. Her sharp eyes scanned the room. She felt something was off. Juma pressed himself behind a large stack of maize, barely breathing. Ainde sniffed the air. Her thick fingers tightened around the door handle. "Who is here?" she demanded. Juma didn't move. She stepped further in, her shoes crunching against the dirty floor. "I will count to 3, she said, her voice low and dangerous. "If you're here, show yourself, or I swear." She didn't finish. A rat scurried across the floor, making a sudden noise. Ainde spun toward it, cursing. Juma used the moment to slip out of his hiding place and dash toward the back door, but his foot caught on a porch. It clattered loudly. Ainde's head snapped toward him. For a second, neither of them moved. Then, "Yo!" Juma ran. Juma bolted out of the kitchen, his breath coming in sharp gasps. Behind him, Ainde charged like an enraged bull. She was fast, faster than he had expected. Her every footstep echoed through the narrow alleyways as she chased him through the sleeping city. Juma knew the street well, but Ainde was determined. He glanced over his shoulder. Her face was twisted in anger, her usually kind expression replaced by something terrifying. She knew he had seen everything. If she caught him, he wouldn't live to tell the tale. He darted around a corner, nearly colliding with a stack of crates. His lung burned, then salvation. Mama Chiku's restaurant was up ahead. He sprinted toward it, throwing himself against the floor. "Let me in!" he gasped. Now, Mama Chiku and her workers who had been waiting for his return yanked him inside and bolted the door just as Ainde's shadow appeared outside. Then a slow knock. Knock, knock, knock. Ainde's voice came through the hood. "Let me in, Chiku," Mama Chiku smirked. "Not tonight, Ainde." Then, the sound of retreating footsteps. Juma collapsed onto the floor, gasping for air. He had survived. But now, the real battle was about to begin. By morning, the entire city was awake with the news. Mama Chiku wasted no time. She and Juma spread the word, making sure everyone knew what Juma had seen inside Ainde's kitchen. People were horrified. The little boy was telling the truth. She's been using charm on us. That's why her food is so addictive. Even Ainde's most loyal customers felt betrayed. The trust was broken. By midday, a crowd had gathered outside the restaurant. The once beloved place was now a house of filth and lies. Ainde stood in the doorway, her arms crossed, her expression unreadable. "You all believe this nonsense?" she asked. The people shouted back, "Open your kitchen and let us see for ourselves." Ainde's jaw tightened. She had two choices, let them in and risk losing everything, or fight back. She chose the latter. With one final glare, she turned on her heel, slammed the door shut, and locked in from inside. The crowd roared. Mama Chiku smiled. The queen of food was falling, but Ainde wasn't finished yet, not by a long shot. Inside the locked restaurant, Ainde paced back and forth, her mind racing. The voices outside grew louder, demanding answers. The people who had once worshipped her food were now ready to tear her down. She clenched her fist. She had worked too hard for this. No one, not a little boy, not Mama Chiku, not the entire city of Pacho was going to take away what she had built. But she needed a plan. She had to turn this around. She took a deep breath, straightened her golden necklace, and pushed open the door. The crowd went silent. With a warm practiced smile, Ainde raised her hands. "My people," she said sweetly, "do you really believe Ainde, will ever betray you?" Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some people hesitated. They wanted to believe her. But Mama Chiku stepped forward. "Then open your kitchen," she said. "Prove to us that Juma is lying." Ainde's smile faltered, but only for a second. She folded her arms. "I don't need to prove anything," she said firmly. "Who is Juma to question my work? Who is Mama Chiku, my jealous competitor, to spread these rumors?" Mama Chiku's eyes narrowed. "Then you have something to hide." The crowd murmured again, this time with more suspicion. Ainde's heart pounded. She had to act fast. "I have nothing to hide," she said smoothly. "In fact, I will prove it to you tomorrow." Mama Chiku raised her eyebrow. "How?" Ainde's lip curled into a confident smile. "Tomorrow morning, I will cook in front of everyone," she declared. "You will see for yourself that my food is pure and clean." The crowd hesitated. It sounded fair. Mama Chiku, however, wasn't convinced, but she nodded. "Fine, tomorrow morning, if we find out you've been lying, Ainde, you will never cook in this city again." Ainde's smile didn't waver. "I wouldn't have it any other way." But inside, she was panicking. Because she did have something to hide, and she had only one night to fix it. As soon as the crowd left, Ainde locked the restaurant doors and rushed into the kitchen. She looked around, breathing heavily. She had to clean everything. She grabbed the basin of spoons, the one filled the yellowish liquid, and carried it to the back alley. Looking around to make sure no one was watching, she poured it all into the drainage. The foul smell hit her nose, but she ignored it. Next, she scrubbed the floor, cleaned the walls, and threw out anything that looked suspicious. By the time she was done, the kitchen sparkled like new. No one will ever know the truth. She smiled to herself, satisfied. Tomorrow, she will cook in front of everyone, and they will see nothing but a clean, perfect kitchen. The plan was flawless, or so she thought, because someone was watching. Juma couldn't sleep. He knew Ainde was up to something, so in the dead of night, he crept back toward a restaurant and hid behind the alley. And that's when he saw her, pouring out the basin, scrubbing the floors, cleaning like a mad woman. He smirked. She was hiding something. Quietly, he pulled out the small camera Mama Chiku had given him. He snapped photos of Ainde dumping the liquid, cleaning the kitchen, throwing things away. By morning, the evidence would be in the hands of the entire city. Ainde thought she had won, but she had no idea what was coming. Morning arrived, and the entire city of Pacho gathered outside Ainde's restaurant. A massive cooking station was set up outside. Ainde stood behind it, dressed in her finest clothes, a golden necklace shining in the sun. She looked calm, confident. Mama Chiku and Juma stood in the front, watching closely. Ainde clapped her hands. Today, she announced, I will show you all that I am innocent. Watch as I prepare my famous stew. The crowd leaned in curious. She chopped onions, fried tomatoes, added the spices all under the watchful eyes of the people. But as she stirred the pot, Juma stepped forward. Before we eat, he said loudly, there's something you all need to see. Ainde froze. Juma held up his camera. Last night, I caught Ainde dumping something behind a restaurant. Do you know what it was? The crowd gasped. Juma turned to Mama Chiku, who nodded. With a loud voice, she declared, it was the charm she used to keep us coming back. The secret behind her food was not her talent, but a dirty trick. People muttered in shock. Juma handed the camera to a man who played the photos on a large screen for everyone to see. Ainde watched in horror as the truth unfolded before her eyes. She was finished. The crowd erupted in anger. You tricked us. We ate from your dirty kitchen. We will never forgive you. Ainde stepped back, her hands shaking. No, wait, But no one was listening. Food vendors stripped down a restaurant's banner. Angry customers threw stones at her signboard. Mama Chiku watched satisfied. Ainde's empire, built on deception, was crumbling before her eyes. She grabbed her golden necklace as if it could somehow save her, but nothing could. Pacho had turned against her, she had lost, and for the first time in her life, Ainde felt what it was like to be truly hungry. Ainde knew she had to leave. The people of Pacho were furious, and if she stayed any longer, things could turn violent. She grabbed a few valuables, her golden necklace, a bundle of cash, and a change of clothes, then slipped out through the back door. But as soon as she stepped into the alley, she came face to face with a group of former customers. You are not going anywhere, one of them growled. Fear tightened Ainde's chest. Please, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. I made a mistake. A woman threw a rotten tomato at her, hitting her square in the chest. Another man spat on the ground near her feet. You disgust us, he said. Ainde turned and ran, pushing past them. She had to get out of Pacho. She had to start over. But where and how? She had no friends left, no restaurant, no reputation. For the first time in years, Ainde felt truly alone, and she hated it. Ainde fled to a small village on the outskirts of Pacho. She rented a tiny rundown room in a cheap lodging house. The luxury she was used to was gone. No more servants. No more golden necklaces, no more admiration. She sat on the hard mattress, staring at the cracked walls. Her stomach growled. She had money, but nowhere to buy food. No restaurant would serve her, and she couldn't dare show her face in the market. After hours of anger, she finally left room under the cover of darkness. She found a small food stall and approached cautiously. The vendor, an old woman, looked at her and narrowed her eyes. Ainde. Ainde flinched. You know me? The woman chuckled. Who doesn't? She handed Ainde a plate of plain rice. Eat. Ainde hesitated. Aren't you afraid I'll trick you? The woman shrugged. I have nothing to lose. Ainde picked up the spoon, her hand trembling. For the first time in her life, she was eating food she hadn't prepared herself, and it tasted different. Not better, not worse, just different. She swallowed hard. She was no longer the queen of food. She was just another hungry woman in the city, and she didn't know how to live like that. Days turned into weeks. Ainde stayed in the village trying to figure out her next move. She needed a plan. She still had money. She still had skills. But did she have trust? She visited the village market and watched the food vendors. They cook openly, with no secret, no tricks. Customers laughed and ate happily. It was so simple. Ainde had spent her years believing that success required deception, but here success was built on honesty. Could she ever start over without her charms? Would people ever eat her food again? She decided to find out. One morning, Ainde approached the old woman who had given her food. I want to work, she said. The woman raised an eyebrow. Doing what? Cooking. The woman laughed. You, Ainde, the great chef, want to cook in my tiny stall? Ainde swallowed her pride. Yes. The woman studied her for a long moment, then nodded. Fine, but no tricks. If I catch you doing anything dishonest, you are out. Ainde nodded. No tricks. And just like that, she became an apprentice in a village food stall. She chopped vegetables, she stirred pots, she served customers. For the first time in her life, she worked under someone else, and to her surprise, she enjoyed it. For once, she wasn't competing, she wasn't scheming, she was just cooking, and people liked her food, not because of magic, but because it was good. Months passed. Ainde slowly built a new life for herself. She earned the villagers' trust. She learned to cook with honesty. One day, Mama Chiku came to the village. She spotted Ainde at the food stall, serving customers with a genuine smile. Their eyes met. Mama Chiku smirked. Never thought I'd see the day. Ainde wiped her hands on the apron. Neither did I. Mama Chiku crossed her arms. So no more tricks? Ainde shook her head. No more tricks. Then Mama Chico pulled out a small bag of spices. "Try this in your stew," she said. "It's my secret blend." Ainde hesitated. "Why are you helping me?" Mama Chico shrugged. Even enemies deserve a second chance. Ainde took the bag and smiled. Maybe, just maybe, she had finally found the right way to cook, and this time she wouldn't lose it. This story of Ainde mirrors what happens in reality. Many restaurant owners and business people secretly use charms to attract customers, but in the end, true success comes from hard work, cleanliness, and providing good service. Instead of relying on that trick, people should focus on quality and honesty, because no charm can protect you forever. Thank you so much for watching. Your support means everything. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Stay tuned for more exciting tales coming your way. See you in the next one, besties.